What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. I'd like to begin this video by giving a huge shout out to TCG Player for the opportunity to be a part of their affiliate program. If you want to help a content creator out, all you have to do is click on the TCG Player link down below, and it won't cost you anything either. Recently, I was asked to help someone with Time Thieves, and I figured I might as well make a full video for them. The last time I did a video on them, I showed a few replays of the Runic variant, but this time I wanted to do something a little bit different. So for this first combo, I'm going to show the first iteration of two Time Thief regulator combos that you can do, and we're going to start by normal summoning it, using its effect as we control no other monsters we contributed off, and get two Time Thieves, as we'll be able to get ourselves the Adjuster along with the Winder, and this will give us a Foolish for a Time Thief card along with an add via the Winder, as we're going to use the Winder Chainlink 1, the Adjuster Chainlink 2, which will send the flyback, giving us an interruption in the graveyard, as long as we control a Time Thief Exceed that we can use in order to attach a card from our opponent's graveyard to it. But we'll then be able to get ourselves the Retrograde, which is a spell and trap negate, go into our redoer, set the Retrograde, and then we can pass on to our opponent with a spell and trap negate, some graveyard disruption, and the redoer to help you kind of grind through with the rest of the cards in hand. Now, this second iteration of this combo really is more important for the Horus build, but normal summoning the regulator again, use its effect in order to get the Adjuster and the Winder, so everything here is about the same except for the send that you're going to be sending off the Adjuster, which will be sending off the Temper Will, and from here we can get ourselves the copy of Retrograde, as we'll then be able to use the effect of the Temper Will in order to get back the Adjuster or the Winder, whichever one you want to get back, as then you can go into the redoer, and now we get the Retrograde, a spell and trap negate, but we do not have the flyback in the graveyard, which is also why I mentioned that this stuff kind of works pretty cool with the Horus cards, because Imseti can now send your Adjuster to the graveyard, get yourself the draw plus the King Sark, and kind of go on from there, but there's more to it than just that I'll talk about later in the video. Now for this next combo, we have Time Thief Winder plus the Adjuster, and we're going to start by normal summoning Winder so that we can use its effect. Chainlink 2 will use the Adjuster from hand. It is important to note that you can only use one Adjuster effect per turn, so we will not get the Foolish here, and we'll be able to get the Retrograde, go into the redoer, from here set the Retrograde, and pass on to our opponent. Now for this next combo, we have the Winder plus Runic Tip, and we're going to start here by activating the Runic Tip, and the entire idea behind the Runic engine is that it's just a bunch of level 4s that help you go into your Time Thief Exceeds with your own Time Thief monsters. Detriment that they always had to them was kind of being a strategy where you relied on seeing your Time Thief cards, and sometimes there wasn't enough ways to get a level 4 on board, but having the Runic engine really does fix that. And we'll now be able to normal summon the Winder, use its effect, which will get you the Retrograde. You can also get the flyback if you would like to, and from here we'll then be able to go into the redoer again, go into the Retrograde, and we'll pass on to our opponent. Now we have the Adjuster plus the Runic Tip, and I wanted to show this one just because the Winder can combo with it, but so can Adjuster, and we're going to start here by using the effect Adjuster, as we'll then be able to send ourselves a copy of the flyback, and now we have the redoer along with the flyback instead of the Retrograde that you would be able to get via the Winder, so just a graveyard disruption. Now this next combo finally features the Horus build, and this one is really cool in my opinion, just because you can normal summon the regulator here, bait the Ash if you have to, then with more cards in your hand, of course you would be able to continue playing, but we're going to bring out the Adjuster along with the Winder, use the effect of the Winder Chainlink 1, the Adjuster Chainlink 2, send ourselves the Temper Will. As you see, we can get that card back for the discard. In this case, I'm also going to end up adding ourselves the flyback, because it's another send for Imseti that would help you and have a graveyard effect, so we'll then be able to use the effect of Temper Will, we'll then be able to get the Adjuster back in hand, we'll then go into the redoer. From here we can use the copy of Imseti, which will send the flyback, getting ourselves the King Sark, draw one as we just get a random card, use the effect of King Sark, pitching the random card, that'll send the happy, then we can use the effect again if you would like to, get yourself 3 Horus monsters, and from here we can either go into the Zombie Vampire, or you can go into Coach King, or you can also go into the IP Masquerena. So it really depends if you want to make a rank 8 like the Coach King or the Zombie Vampire, but I just wanted to show that the other alternative was that you can IP into SP if you would like to as well. Then the next one we have here is the Horus Imseti along with the Time Thief Winder, and this one is really cool because as long as you have another send with the Time Thief Winder in hand, you can use the in-hand Winder effect as you do go into Zombie Vampire or whatever other Exceed you end up going into. But we're going to then be able to bring out the Happy, bring out the Imseti, go into the Zombie Vampire. From here, if you have an opponent, you can obviously mill cards. We don't have an opponent to send the top cards of their deck from, so we're just going to use the Winder. From here, we can use the effect of of the Winder, get ourselves the Adjuster, normal summon the Adjuster, use its effect in order to send the Temper Whale. We can then use the effect of the Temper Whale, put the Adjuster back in hand. Keep in mind you also could have sent another copy of Flyback if you really wanted to, but we're then going to be able to go into the Redoer, and from here we can then use the effect of the King Sark, which will get us another name in the graveyard so that we can go into the SP Little Knight. You can also go into Masquerena depending on the amount of bodies on board and stuff like that, but with this I'll take you on to the next combo. Now for the final one we have the Runic Freezing Curse along with the Instant Fusion and the Regulator, and we're going to start this one with the Regulator. You always have to start with the Regulator because you have to remember that you need to control no other monsters in order to activate and resolve its effect. So we're going to get ourselves the Winder along with the Adjuster, and the cool thing about the Instant Fusion plus the Freezing Curse is that it's essentially 2 copies of Instant Fusion that will give us access into 2 more level 4s. So we're going to use the Freezing Curse in order to bring out the Gary, and then we can use the Instant Fusion in order to bring us out another copy of Gary, and then we can go into the Patrouille, I think it's called, Perpetua, and from here we'll then be able to set the Retrogate. I was thinking about Infernoids for a second, and we can pass on to our opponent with our 2 Time Thief monsters. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and some of the things that I've added into this deck are things like Summon Limit, and there can be only 1, just because I feel like the deck needs a little bit more of a win con, and having Floodgates with Runic can sort of be a win con, especially since you can kind of play around it pretty well yourself. It really only takes 2 level 4s in order to make one of your Exceeds, and you can always Runic Quick Play during the end phase of your opponent's turn or whatever. Just little things like that. You'll also see that we're on a pretty low monster count, but I only wanted to play the monsters that we absolutely needed, and I only wanted to play 1 Regulator because of the 3 summon limit as well, which I felt was something important to do so that you can actually kind of play around your own summon limit. Then we have the 3 copies of Upstart, and this is something that can either change or keep in. I just like the idea of it because you want to see your Floodgates as fast as possible. I do think that the Ash is changeable with potentially another board breaker, but I didn't know what I wanted to put here. But the rest of the list is pretty standard in regards to the runic count. You'll see that we have only 2 Slumber in order to fit the Smiting Storm. You can also put Dispelling in here if you would like to. As for the options, there's stuff like the Band Played On, which neither player can special summon monsters with the same level as those they control, which is really cool because what this means is that your opponent normal summons Snake Eyes Ash at the Populace, and then they can't special summon that because it's also level 1. Then there's stuff like the Royal Prison, which probably not the most ideal Floodgate, but neither player can special summon a monster from the graveyard, which does come up for the Promethean Princess, the Flamber's Dragon as well, but then I guess there's also Oak and stuff like that, so it's not too bad, but I don't think it's ideal. And there's stuff like the Soul Drain and the Mind Drain, which are other Floodgates you can potentially play. I think it's important to kind of consider different formats and stuff like this when picking your Floodgates, but I just wanted to put a bunch of Floodgates here for future reference, just in case the format changes. We're in Fire format right now, and there's bound to be a list that kind of changes things up for a bit. There's also the Grave of Super Ancient Organism, which again, level 6 or higher special summon monsters cannot declare attacks, nor can players activate their effects, but again, Flamberge activates in the graveyard, so there's nothing that you can really do about that. The Bezel Ship is something else that you can play if you want to play the extra Time Thief name. I just don't think it's necessary. There's a bunch of hand traps here, or well, really only 4 of them. I just wanted to say that you could potentially play more hand traps if you would like to, but I didn't think it was necessary. I also thought of maining the Shifter, which sounds crazy, but the idea was that if you can force the turn skip, potentially go into a number 41, you can outgrind your opponent that way. Then, of course, there's the other runic names that you can potentially play between the Sleipnir and the Munin. Cowboy, which can be used for time, along with the Brujan Link, which I don't think we need anymore because SP was released. But with that, I'll take you on to the card by card before I get into the Horus build. And we have the 3 Adjuster, the 3 Winder, the 1 Regulator, the 1 Temper Whale, the 1 Startup, the 3 Upstart, the 3 Flashing Fire, the 3 Freezing Curse, or the 3 Destruction, the 3 Freezing Curse, the 3 Tip, the 2 Slumber, the 1 Storm, the 1 Instant Fusion, the 1 Retrograde, 2 Flyback. We then have the 3 copies of Summon Limit, the 1 copy of There Can Be Only One, the 2 copies of Fountain, the 3 copies of Ash, 2 copies of Munin in the extra deck, the 2 copies of Jerry. We then have the 1 copy of the Abyss Dweller, number 41, Exciton Knight, the 2 copies of Perpetua. We then have the 2 copies of Redoer, the 1 copy of Double Barrel, the 1 copy of Zeus, the 1 copy of Typhon, and SP Little Knight to round out the deck profile. Now the Horus build is a little bit different, and there's 6 flex spots here that I would like to talk about in regards to Ash and Imperm. I had no idea what I wanted to put here, but you'll see that in this version I am on the 3 Regulator, and it's because we want to be able to play around Ash as best as possible between the Horus cards and the Regulator. But if your Regulator does get hit by Ash, at least you can still play with your Horus stuff, get into Coach King, get into Zombie Vampire, and just little things like that. Outside of that, I've really been making a lot of Horus lists kind of the same with the Keldo and Mudora, Blacked Out Laughs, in order to make those discards via Imseti or the Sens, and the King Sarcophagus a little bit stronger, which I felt was important. Of course, that's what you can commit your other 6 slots to if you would like to. As you see, I have no other options. I really was pretty dry on ideas for what I wanted to do, since it just felt like hand traps were kind of important this format. The deck is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to get onto the card by card, as it really is just make rank 4, and if you have Horus, you can go into rank 8, maybe go into SP or even the BLS link. If you see your summon limit along with something like Solemn, then you can just make those M boards stronger, and of course you can even play stuff like the Skill Drain if you would like to, since the Regulator can technically play around that, get you into rank 4, and then you still have a beat stick. I didn't know how I felt about it. You consider the rest of the Time Thief engine and potentially not seeing your Horus cards. So with that, we have the 3 Imseti, the 3 King Sark, the 3 Field Spell, the 1 Terraforming, the 1 Mudora, the 1 Keldo, the 1 Water Horus, the 1 Blackout Laughs, the 1 Temper Whale, the 1 Happy, the 3 Regulator, the 3 Winder, or the 3 Adjuster, the 3 Winder, the 1 Retrograde, the 2 Flyback, the 3 Solemn, the 3 Summon Limit, the 3 Imperm, the 3 Ash to round out the main deck. Onto the side deck, or onto the extra deck, we have the Dweller, number 41, the 2 Perpetua, the 2 Redoer, the 1 Double Barrel, Dingirsu, Zombie Vampire, Coach King, Zeus, Typhon, IP Masquerena, SP, and BLS link to round out the deck profile. For everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching and for the 700 plus subscribers. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below, and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. I was wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.